Hello, hello. How's it going? All right, I think I'm live in all three places. It's been a hot minute since I've gone live because I have been doing so much of my content over on YouTube and recording it. So, gosh, it's been a minute. I mean, I was live every single week for a few years, and it's been probably, I don't know, over a month, maybe more than that since I've been live in the group. So if you're here, say hi. Let me know you can hear me. Jamie here. Hope everybody is well. I am currently live on my Facebook page. I am live in my Facebook group, Financial Literacy for Women Business Owners. If you're not in it, you need to come join. And I'm also live over on YouTube, I'm pretty sure. So somebody say something so that I know that you can see me because I see people joining. Okay, I see Myrnie. Now, if you are watching me, even if you've done this before, for whatever reason, StreamYard is what I use to broadcast. If you are watching me in the Facebook group, there is a link. It should be in the description of this video. Otherwise, I'm sure my team, Crystal, will probably we'll probably post it here, but there is a link you need to click just so that I can see your name in StreamYard because I want to be able to interact with you. That's one of the great things about live that I can't do as much when I'm doing recorded YouTube videos. And that's something that I really miss. I really miss getting to chat with all of y'all. So for some reason, I see Athena. I don't see, so everybody who, I'm putting up your comments so you can see who I can't see. And I want to be able to see who y'all are and see your pretty little pictures. So make sure to grant StreamYard permission to see your name if you're watching me in the Facebook group. Awesome. Well, I'm excited to be here with y'all this morning. It is December, mid-December at this point in time. I'm curious, how are y'all's holidays going? Both on a personal level and on a business level. I feel like for me, December and May as a mom are like the craziest times of year, just preparing all the things for everyone. So if you're feeling that right now, I am definitely feeling that. I feel like we've also had a lot of sickness. So my daughter was homesick yesterday. Thank the Lord. She has been fever free for over 24 hours. So she is back at school today. But y'all, it's been a month. My son's had the flu and he's had strep in the last month. Like I'm over it. I'm over it at this point. Plus, we're just doing all of the holiday stuff. So hopefully everybody is good. I hope y'all have also seen, who here has seen, and I'll have Crystal post it. I want to make sure you guys have seen the shopping guide. We put out a holiday shopping guide for the very first time ever. It's all about supporting small women-owned businesses, okay, while you're doing your holiday shopping. I also did a YouTube video on, talking about how to support small women-owned businesses as you do your shopping, even on Amazon. So we're getting to that point, right? We're like, T-minus 12 days away right now. So if you're getting to the point where you're like, oh, shoot, I missed my window to order from small businesses because the shipping time might take a little bit longer. Remember, you can still go in store, right? For those of us that still go shop in stores, which I don't leave my house. That's not me. But also there's a way to do that on Amazon. So there is a YouTube video, and Crystal can probably grab that too. There's a YouTube video that talks about how to shop small women-owned businesses on Amazon, y'all. So there is a way. Remember, lots of small businesses use Amazon as a way to reach more customers, so you can still shop that. So that's been something I've been trying to buy at least 50% of my gifts this year from small businesses. That's been a little tougher with my kids, but for everybody else, it's a little bit easier. So it's been kind of a fun challenge. So join me. Okay. So what are we talking about today? Why am I here today? I wanted to go live with y'all because I wanted to have a conversation. And I see Tony. I know Tony's got her own boutique. So yes, I'm sure you're very well aware the holidays are coming. The holiday shopping guide, you need to check it out. Here's where the video is all about how to support small women-owned businesses with even on Amazon. Okay. But today I want to talk about 2023. So we're probably in the flurry of 2022 right now. We are probably feeling all the feels of 2022. closing out this year. We don't want to forget about this year, right? We want to close out this year strong, especially if you are in retail or you are doing handmaids. This is your time of year. So maybe right now, 2023 isn't on your mind yet. Or maybe you're a planner like me who like started 2023 planning in October. So wherever you are, let me know where you are on that planning spectrum. Are you like, oh, I'll worry about that later? Or are you like on it? You've already ordered your new fresh planner for the year. You're like, how many planners can a person have? I don't know. I have a obscene amount of planners, but I love the act of planning. And part of what I love about planning is the fact that we get to really start dreaming again and finding excitement about our business again. And that's something that I recommend you do, right? Oftentimes we are so inundated with the day to day, we're so inundated with the urgent that we don't think about the important. And I've talked about that before, but the important is really taking that step back and planning. And that's part of your CEO role. Like we get so drawn into all the day to day, the little things we have to do all the time that we forget, like, hey, I need to take a step back here and make sure that I'm taking the straightest path to where I want to go. Because if we don't plan it out, like, right, we might end up where we want to go, right? If we were to get in a car, and I know this is like an overused metaphor, but I think it's so perfect, right? If we were to get in a car without a GPS, without knowing, how to get to where we're going, or even worse, without even knowing where we're going, we're just like, I'm gonna drive around, right? How are we going to get to our desired destination? Right. So, number one, we didn't even know what that destination was. We got to set that first. That's important. Some of y'all know what your destination is. You know where you want to go in your business, but you don't necessarily have that path to getting there. And I mean that for 2023 and beyond, right? So we should have our short period of time and our long period of time. We tend to, when planning, and this is why I do my annual planning, but I don't just do it for the year. I do an annual planning, but I also do a 5-year planning every single year at the same time. And the reason for that is that we tend to, right, psychologically, y'all have probably heard this before, but we tend to overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 5 years, 10 years, right? So I like to really get realistic about what is possible in the year ahead, right? I also don't want to I love big goals, but I have gotten to the point in my business where I don't want to just overstate those goals to the point where I am going to basically be, running on a hamster wheel trying to reach these goals without the processes and the things that need to be in place in order to reach them. So that's kind of where I'm at in my business from just learnings. And I'm sure that some of y'all have been there too. So yeah, it's great to say, let's say your goal is like, I want to make $1 million next year, right? Well, if you made $150,000 this year, that's big. And I'm not saying you can't do it because you might be able to, but there's going to be a lot that you need to have in place to get from 150K to $1 million. And you probably don't have those processes in place. You probably don't have that team in place. You are probably not the same person that you need to be to hit $1 million, right, in your business. So I'm not saying you can't set those goals, but if you do, then you need to make the pathway to get there. And you also need to think about, what do I need to have in place to get to the place that I want to go, right? Because it's not just going to happen. We need to plan it out. So the first thing, like, right, I am with you, Myrnie. There's no limit. I have so many planners. The problem is I need a planner to track my planners because I lose them and I forget where I'm planning what. So that's a whole different level of problem. So I want you, if you don't, let's throw another planner on here, y'all. Y'all need, if you don't have one, let's grab a planner. Go to jamietrell.com/annual planner. I've updated my annual planner for the 2023 year. And I want to show you, hang on, I have a little banner. Look, I'm getting fancy, y'all. I'm getting fancy. Ha ha. So grab my annual planner. It's been updated. I'm going to show it to you on the screen here in a minute, but it'll help you walk through my process. I basically just documented my process because I wanted to show you, what do I do when I'm planning for the year ahead, right? How do I walk into that? Because I think sometimes we sit down to do it and we're like, what am I supposed to be doing here? So grab that annual planner, and I'm just going to quickly, I'm not going to walk through in detail because you're going to get this. Make sure to check your promos folder and then whitelist us, because for some reason, even my email went to my own promos folder and it's from me. So check that. If you don't see it come into your email inbox. But here's what you're going to get. And it's not just a short thing. And this isn't your typical, like, I, of course, still have my planners that look like this that are more just calendars and things like that. This is really walking you through how do we financially plan for the new year in our business. So when you come down through here, you're going to see we're going to start with a 2022 review. Now, some of y'all are like, no, 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 I just want to put 2022 in the rear view. Why are we talking about 2022? And the reason that we start with 2022 is to be able to figure out what's realistic and what we need to have in our business to reach those big goals of ours. We've got to look backwards, right? We've got to start by looking backwards. And this does not mean, and this is what a lot of people stops a lot of people in their tracks, is they are worried they have to have all of their bookkeeping done in order to be able to do this. And that's not the case. And you'll see in here, there are just some big picture numbers you really want to get a hang on and an estimate. We're not talking about what's going to go on your tax return. You can worry about that later. Okay. It's important, but you can worry about that later. For now, think about what was my total revenue that I brought in this year? What products did I sell this year, right? What was the breakdown? What were my total costs this year? What did that look like? What was my profit? How much did I pay myself? Those are the main things. And again, we're not talking about getting to the cent or to even to the dollar or heck, even to the $100. We're trying to get a round estimate so that you can kind of figure out where you landed for the year. Okay. So we're going to start with that when we go through here. And you're going to start kind of going through your 2022 review. Okay. And I'm even going to walk you through the math. It's the simplest math ever. Again, we're not talking about anything complicated here. We're just going to come up with what your operating profit margins, estimated were for 2022. Oh yes, Jocelyn, girl, you took the words out of my mouth. This is something I preach all the time. It doesn't have to be perfect to be useful. Oftentimes we think like, okay, I don't even have all my bookkeeping for this year. I have some things I need to go catch up on, but I have a very good view of what my revenue and estimate of what my revenue and expenses were, right? It doesn't have to be perfect to be useful. The point is to make observations, not to get it right, not to be able to fill out your tax return with this information, okay? So let's get comfortable making some estimates and some judgments. And then we're going to do some reflections because it's really important to say, okay, what does this tell me? Not from a shame place, not from like a shoulda, woulda, coulda place, but from a how has this impacted me? What can I learn from what happened last year, right? And don't skip this step. Don't skip the step of thinking, what can I learn from last year? Don't sit in that. Don't stew on it. Don't feel like regret about it. Just say like, man, it's just data, right? Those feelings, the things that maybe didn't go as well as you thought, or the new products that maybe didn't sell the way that you thought, or, whatever it was, or maybe even the investments you made in your business that didn't pan out. There's no purpose in sitting in that and saying, oh, I'm so stupid. Like, how could I have made those decisions that that there's no use for that type of mentality. What there is use for is to use that as data, right? The things that you tried that maybe didn't work, or the things that you want to get a better handle on, that's data that you can then use to inform where you go next year, right? The worst thing you can do is just sit in it and say, and not change anything, right? We want to use that and say, okay, that didn't work out. Tried it. Let's try something new next year and use that information as data to inform our decisions. Okay. So after we've done our 2022 reflections, we're going to jump into 2023. We're going to talk about priorities, right? We can't have too many priorities. Or we can have too many priorities. Sorry, we can have too many priorities. You can't prioritize everything. If you're prioritizing everything, you're prioritizing what? Nothing. Right? If we say, okay, I want to pay off debt. I want to maximize my paycheck. I want to work less. I want to, retire early. I want to do all of these things. I want to invest and I want to grow really fast. Like some of those things are kind of in counteract. You have to have priorities so that you know where to spend your two resources that you have, which are time and money. Okay, so this talks about that too. But your time and money should be going towards the things that are your priorities. And so setting those priorities intentionally and not having a million different priorities will give you very clear direction on where to put your time and your money next year. I'm going to give you an example. For me, a huge priority is Less so even than growing the business, right? I want to grow the business next year, but what I really want to do is get time back and feel time freedom while still feeling financially secure. So for me, that's a lot of automation. Next year, one of our huge goals for next year is to continue automating. We've already started the process, but we want to automate as much as possible so that it's not all sitting on me and we have additional margin. We have more margin to do projects that we want to do. I have some exciting projects I'm not going to tell you yet, but for next year that I'm really excited for, but I need time to do those things. So instead of saying, okay, I want to, triple my revenue next year, I know that that's going to require more of my time. And I don't want to do that. Honestly, that's not really my priority. So what we're really trying to do is set up systems and automate and delegate and all of those things that are going to really lead to what my priorities are. So be honest with yourself. Don't prioritize all the things and tell me real quick, what are y'all prioritizing for 2023? What are y'all thinking just off the top of your head? What comes to mind that you want more of? It could be money, it could be time, it could be freedom, it could be any number of things. It could be paying down debt, it could be getting closer to retirement. I'm really curious what you guys are thinking for 2023. Maybe it's just building a nest egg that you want to feel more secure. You're worried about, are we walking into a recession? Tell me a little bit about what you're thinking there, because that should then help you inform your decisions. Sometimes we do the opposite of our priorities, in large part because that's what we see other people doing and that's what we think we need to do. But if we're really honest with ourselves, we don't want that person's business, but yet we're acting like we do. We're going after their goals and not ours. So I think that's really important. I love this. I love this. Okay. So Myrnie says scaling her business. Yes. And remember, scaling is different than growing. Scaling is different than growing. There's a whole live that I did on that one a long time ago. Staffing. I love that. So staffing, what's the ultimate goal then, right? Is staffing the ultimate goal to give yourself more time freedom? Is that the ultimate goal to grow your capacity so you can grow your profit? So I would also think about what's the why behind it, right? Kind of take it to that next level of like, why is staffing a priority? Oh, well, because what I'm really looking for is XYZ. Profit, love it. Speaking my language. We love more profit, not just revenue. We want to increase profit, meaning our piece of the pie. Let's see, same amount of money, but more time. I love this. I love this because this is kind of where I'm at too, where I'm like, yes, we would like to increase our revenues and increase our profit margins and things like that. But again, it's really so much about time. And then we can choose what we do with that time. Efficiency, which will give you time back, and sleep. I love this, Tony. Delegating for Sarah. I love it. Reduce monthly expenses and increase revenue. So what you're doing, there you go, Athena, right? Like what you're talking about here is increasing your profit margins, because your profit margins are really a factor of just your revenue and your expenses. That's all it is. We get really like kind of caught up in like, oh, what's the right way to calculate a profit margin? The truth is, you can either or, right? You can increase your revenue. That's going to increase your profit margins, assuming that your costs don't rise as well. Sometimes it doesn't, right? Sometimes increasing revenue, if your costs increase at the same rate or higher, it doesn't actually increase your profit margins. The best thing you can do is to increase your revenue and decrease your expenses. And then what you're doing is you're increasing that profit margin, right? If you just do one or the other, it's not going to increase as fast, but it's really like, this is me trying to do, you know what I'm saying? But if you pull both, what we call those are levers, right? Increasing revenue. And also there are lots of different ways to increase revenue. It's not just about selling more. So there's a lot of different ways you can increase revenue without selling more, believe it or not. So I love these priorities that y'all have and that you're already thinking about what you want. And sometimes it comes out of, I don't know about y'all, but sometimes it comes out of, well, I know what I don't want. I don't want this feeling that I've sat in. I don't want to feel so stressed. I don't want to feel strapped for cash, right? It sometimes comes out of a feeling of knowing what didn't go as well or what you would like to change. And that's okay, right? Again, that's data for what you need to focus on for next year. Yes, I love the levers. There's so many levers. I teach this in my financial fitness formula program, all about the levers that we can pull, because that's all it is, right? We get over worried about all, what do we do in our business? But we have lots of levers available to us. So anyway, grab your annual planner. Here, I'm going to show you a little bit more of it just to kind of give you guys a little bit more of a tutorial. We're going to set targets, not just for revenue, but for profit. Why? Because profit is really what matters. Revenue doesn't matter if you're spending all your money in your business. So we need to also have a target profit. What do we want to actually be able to pay ourselves? And then that's going to give us our target profit margin, easy peasy. We're even going to set out, okay, how are we going to get there? Right? So we can set these, but then what is the actual roadmap to getting there? And if we write out the different things that we offer and the prices and the goal we have to sell for the year. So our different products or services, maybe our different packages, however you sell the things that you sell. If we write those out, put their prices down, you can put the prices as they are today, right? And then the number to sell, you'll be able to tell when you add this up, is that anywhere near what your target is? And if it's not, you can go back in and say, okay, well, what do I need to change? What if I increase the price? What if I increase the number that I sell, right? You can play around with this a little bit so that you can figure out, okay, is my target revenue and profit even like within the realm of possibility, right? And if it is, how do I get there? How many of what do I need to sell to get there? And then there's a way, right? Like that you can then go and you can break this into quarters and say, okay, each quarter I'm going to do, let's say you have a fairly steady business, it's not seasonal. You just take and say, okay, 1/4 of that goal is what I'm going to hit each and every quarter. I really love breaking down big goals because what happens when we don't, y'all know what happens. We say, I want to hit $1 million next year. And then like first quarter comes around and we're at like $75,000. And we're like, we don't sit down and think like, okay, well now what do I need to do? We just keep like hoping towards this $1 million that maybe later in the year it's going to come. But what we really need to do is set these goals and help them to motivate us and come up with ways to hit those goals within a quarter. Right? Because if we get too far in the year, it becomes too hard. Now we're sitting in December and saying, okay, I got 2 weeks left and I'm like 50% off my goal. And either you give up or you're killing yourself trying to get closer to the goal, neither of which are a great idea, right? So we want to spread out the effort. We want to be thinking about this. We want to not just take our goal and set it. We want to be paying attention to where we are and then adjusting, either our goal, right? Or even better, our pathway to getting there throughout the rest of the year. So we don't just want to set it once, like whatever you're setting, I recommend, put it on a Post-it note. And even if it could be a dollar amount, it could be how much time you want to be working a week, right? If you're like, I want to go down to 30 hours a week, right? Write it on a Post-it note. Write those goals. I want to pay down my debt by X amount. Put them on a Post-it note and put them around your room so that you see them. Because otherwise you're like, what was my goal? What did I set? You're rummaging through your stuff. You can't find your guide. Like, put it up so you can see it and look at it all the time because it's going to help motivate you to keep going. Okay. All right. Okay. Just showing you through the rest of the workbook. So again, we're going to go through that and then we're going to do 5-year planning. Yes, during my annual planning, like I said, I do 5-year planning as well. So we're going to look at 2028, y'all, and that might feel crazy in the future, but I will tell you the things that you do next year are going to impact you in 2028. They're going to impact you even past that, right? Because those things, the investments that we make with our time and our money into our business really have, it's kind of a compound effect. It's like compounding interest when you're talking about investments like in an investment account, like buying stocks. It's kind of a similar thing where the money and the time that we invest into our business, really, we don't often see it come to fruition right away. But we will see it over time. And if we forget to look ahead, we get a little bit bogged down in what's going on today. And we don't want to do that. We want to really be able to think to the future, right? To think about where we're going rather than get tied up in the day-to-day. And so that's why it's really important to sit down and make those goals for 2028 and think about like, okay, what do I really want? Where do I really want to go? Ooh, I love this retirement year. Me too. Me too. Retire at 45. That sounds nice, right? Probably not, but but again, I think for me by 2028, I want a bigger business. Yes. But what I really want, again, is that time flexibility. And so I know that working towards that, all the decisions that I make in my business really need to be serving that end goal, or else I don't need to be doing them. And so we can run things through that frame and it helps us keep that long-term destination. Yes, we want the short-term 2023 goal in our mind, but we also want the long-term destination. Where are we going really. And by setting the destination, and y'all can't see where my hand, but you know what I mean. By setting the destination, you are now giving yourself, a view of what that end goal is. And you're going to reach it quicker than if you never set it, right? If you never sit down and say, this is what my end goal is, you might eventually get there, maybe, but you're going to get there quicker if you keep it in sight. It's just the way psychology works, right? We will end up almost unconsciously making steps towards that goal because it's in our mind, because we have it there. If we never set a retirement goal, guess what? You're going to be working forever. If you say, I got a 2028 retirement goal, you might hit that goal. You might hit a 2027, right? It might be 2030, but fine. That's better than 2040, 2045, right? And if we don't set those goals, that's what tends to happen. The can gets kicked down the line, right? We don't want it to be what we used to joke about as a rolling 5-year. So this was the case when we got married. We had the rolling 5 years of when we would have a baby. So, the first year was like, oh, about 5 years. Then the next year was, oh, about 5 years. We had the rolling 5 forever. And then my father-in-law, when he was working, we joked that he had the rolling 5 years. It's like, oh, I got about 5 more years of work. And then it just kept every year, it was 5 more years, right? We don't want that. We want to set that goal. We want to work towards that goal. I love it. I love it. Yes, I think that is the goal. That is the goal. It's 2028 retirement year. I feel it for you. You're going to make those steps. You're going to get there. Again, that intentionality is really the key behind doing that. Okay, so make sure you grab my annual planner. That's the first thing that I wanted to tell you guys about today. Make sure you're sitting down, whether it's now in December, if now is like a quiet time for you. I don't know who December is a quiet time for, but if it is, maybe that week between Christmas and New Year's. I love that week. I love that week so much because it's just quiet. Nobody's around. Nobody's making meetings. Like it's just you and your thoughts, right? That's a great time to sit down and do some of this planning because there's usually not as much urgent. Again, depends on your business, but it's usually not like as many things kind of on fire that week. Make a plan to sit down for a couple hours and just do some of this work. And also into January, we're actually going to be doing an annual planning meeting. If you grab my annual planner, you'll see it at the end. It will tell you about our annual planning meeting. I've never done it before, but we're going to do one. And it's going to be awesome. And so we're going to dive even deeper into all of this over an annual planning meeting on January 18th. But the other thing I want to tell y'all about is if you know that next year you're like, I got to get a handle on this. I really want to feel comfortable making strategic decisions, knowing how I should price my products, really getting into the levers we talked about, right? Like how do we increase our revenue? How do we decrease our costs? How do we hit our 5-year forecast? How do we do a 5-year forecast, right? How do we manage our cash flow effectively? How do we pay ourselves more? All of those things are part of my signature financial fitness formula program, which some of you have taken. I see some familiar faces in here. So I know like Tony's taken it, right? Like I see so many familiar faces. If you know 2023 is the year, we only open it one time a year. We're not opening it yet. So this is not an announcement that we're opening it because we don't start. The program starts. Day one of the program is February 6th of 2023. But I have a special offer. And since y'all are here, I'm not going to tell you what the offer is, but I'm going to tell you how to find out what it is. If you want to see our special pre-sale offer for Financial Fitness Formula, okay, make sure to join the waitlist. I have a banner for that too, y'all. I'm so fancy. So in 2 days' time, December 15th, we are going to be sending out our pre-sale. We are doing a pre-sale in December for next year's program. Why? Well, one thing, we did this a couple of years ago, the very first time, 3 years ago, the very first time that I launched this program. We did a pre-sale in December and people loved it because they could get that tax deduction quicker, right? So you obviously, like, this is a tax deduction for your business, generally to learn about finances for your business and become the CFO of your own business, right? So you can get that tax deduction in 2022. I know a lot of times if we're not prepared for like the tax bill we got to pay, we're looking for those things. Now in Financial Fitness Formula, I'll teach you how to not worry about that and how to be fully prepared for taxes next year, right? But if you want that deduction in 2022 to get that the tax impact back sooner, then this is a great thing for you. And we have some special deals that are not going to be available later. So you want to check this out. It's the best deal we've ever had. I'll just say that. It's the best deal. This pre-sale is crazy. And if you are one of the people that's like, I can't even think about 2023 because 2022 is a mess and my bookkeeping, I haven't done it since February. It's like, how am I even going to get ready for taxes? Who has time to think about next year? I got to think about this year. If that is you, you're going to want to sign up for this pre-sale because I got something you probably want to know about. I'm so excited about, like, I just think this is the best thing we've ever done. We've really been working on it. Yay. I can't see who this is. Oh no. The original. You're probably one of our Financial Fitness Formula founding members, but say, hey, I can't see, hit the StreamYard button so I know who you are because I know so many of my members and I love hearing from y'all. So check out the wait list. Again, no obligation for joining the wait list. The wait list does not mean you're buying. The wait list just means you will be able to find out about this deal, okay? Because we're not going to be sending this out to our email list as a whole. We are not going to be promoting this to everybody. You want to make sure you jump on this wait list so that you get this this information and then do what you want with it. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's Nicole. Hey, Nicole. What's up? Okay. So anyway, that's all I really wanted to say. It's a little button on StreamYard. It's in the description somewhere. So that's what I wanted to say. Make sure you join that wait list. Again, I'm not going to be announcing what this pre-sale is to the whole of people. You want to be on the wait list so you make sure that you don't miss out on the pre-sale. You want to make sure to also be grabbing the annual planner, and that's totally free. So you can start doing your own annual planning either now, maybe that week between Christmas and New Year's, maybe you wait until January. However you want to do it. But I want to help you make 2023 your best year ever. Okay. I want it to be your best year ever. I know we get worried about like, oh, economy and recession and all of those things, but we can only control what we can control, right? So let's figure out what we can control and how we can really reach those goals and first of all, set those goals. And second of all, reach those goals by really being able to manage our finances well within our business and make great decisions. Okay. So that's all I wanted to say today. I love y'all. Y'all are amazing. I need to do more lives. I know I'm going to do some more over the next probably month or so because I miss being able to chat with y'all. I really enjoy it. Oh, yep. I see you now. Hey, Nicole. And that's it. That's all I got for today. I'm going to go finish drinking my coffee. It's December. It's my last week without the kids home. So I'm going to go enjoy some peace and quiet maybe for a little bit. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye for now.